As we enter the month of October, we reflect on the significance of this new season through the promise given in Genesis chapter 8, verse 5. In this verse, we see that after the great flood, the waters recede, and for the first time in a long while, Noah and his family catch a glimpse of hope, the mountaintops. This was a sign that God's promise of restoration was coming into view. In the same way, God's promises in our lives are often preceded by times of waiting, testing, and perseverance. But just like in Noah's story, God always brings the waters to recede. Noah and his family were in the ark for many months while the waters covered the earth. During that time, it may have seemed endless, but God had a plan. Likewise, the difficulties we face in life can feel overwhelming, as though they might never end. But in this passage, we find the reassurance that the waters of trouble will recede. In 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17, Paul reminds us, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." The storms of life are temporary, but God's promises are eternal. We need to trust in His timing and provision. It wasn't random that the waters receded in the 10th month, and that Noah saw the mountain tops on the first day. God's timing is precise. Sometimes we may feel as though we are in a long period of waiting like Noah, but we must remember that God has already set the time for our breakthrough. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11, it says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." God is never late, and He knows the perfect moment to bring His promises to fruition. October is a reminder for us that the time for the waters to recede in our lives may be drawing near, and we should be ready to see the tops of the mountains, the first signs of God's promise. Seeing the mountaintops was more than just a geographical observation for Noah. It was a sign of God's faithfulness. The mountains represented stability, strength, and the assurance that dry land was coming soon. In our own lives, we should look for the signs of God's faithfulness, even in the smallest ways. Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 to 23 tells us, "Because of the Lord's great love we are not consumed, for His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." October reminds us to trust that the same God who was faithful to Noah will be faithful to us. The waters will not last forever, and God will always provide a way of escape and restoration. After the flood, Noah and his family did not return to the way things were before. They stepped out into a new world and a new beginning. The receding waters not only marked the end of the flood, but the start of a fresh chapter in their lives. God often uses challenging times to prepare us for new seasons and new opportunities. In Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19, God says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." As we step into October, let's prepare ourselves for the new things God is doing in our lives. The floods may have washed some things away, but what God is preparing for us will be even greater. As we meditate on Genesis chapter 8, verse 5 this October, let us remember the faithfulness of God to bring us through our storms. The waters of trial, difficulty, and uncertainty will recede, and God will show us the mountaintops, the first signs of His promise. Be encouraged, for God's timing is perfect. His faithfulness is sure, and He is preparing us for a season of new beginnings. Let this verse be a declaration for October. The waters are receding, and God's promises are coming into view. Amen.